I recently got a couple of comments saying, are there any old school RuneScape Ironman cons? And it really got me thinking, are there? Just letting you know, this video was extremely hard for me to go ahead and make just because I love the Ironman game mode so much. I am called no help after all. I also want to say these aren't really cons, they're just kind of part of actually playing Ironman mode, but maybe more difficult things or annoying things you could say. I wouldn't really necessarily call them cons, but here are some of them. Alright, so the very first thing that I could think of is not being able to take part in all content. Now, you can, but not right away. So say a brand new update comes out, you might not have the requirements to go ahead and do it, or you might not have the gear required in order to go ahead and do it. Raids 3, for example, is a really great piece of content that I took part in a little bit, but I couldn't fully do it, solo it, and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure I could if I really went deep into it. I know there's people that do it with really budget gears and stuff like that, but pretty much when Raids 3 first came out, there's people making guides and stuff like that, doing it on low levels, but to really do Raids 3 efficiently, you need some pretty decent gear to do it efficiently over time for a long period of time. You need some really good gear. So being an Ironman account, if you don't already have really good gear, it's pretty hard to do something like Raids 3 efficiently over and over again. Now, it is possible, and I can do it. It's just, I can't do it to its full potential. So say I had Torva armor and a twisted bow and stuff like that on my Ironman account, it would make doing the raid a lot easier. Or even other things such as making divine potions. You need to go ahead and unlock Elf City in order to go and do that instead of just buying them right from the Grand Exchange. Or something even as simple as stamina potions. They're locked behind a Herblore requirement, and it could take you a long time to go ahead and get as an Ironman account. When being a main account, when you're doing all the low level quests, you can just go buy your stamina potions. As an Ironman account, you can't really do that, but in my opinion, that's part of the fun. The next one's kind of similar, where you can't always have every item that you want in game. So say you just love an item, for example, like the golden, chef's hat. You're gonna have to go ahead and get it from a clue scroll. You can't just go ahead and buy it from the Grand Exchange. And there's so many different items that you could go ahead and think about with this. Even something like the holiday event items, you're gonna have to be around for that holiday in order to get yourself a Santa hat or party hat or Halloween mask or whatever it is. Now, it is possible to go ahead and get. It just might take you a little bit longer than say a main account to go ahead and get. Now, one of my favorite items on this whole game is got to be the Dragon Hunter Lance, and it's something that I've been chasing on this Ironman account probably for the past year. Extremely dry at Hydra, but it's one of those things where it's I can kill Hydra as much as I want, and it's just luck until I go ahead and get the item. Now, I know that is part of the game, but some things are extremely frustrating. Another example is killing Zulrah. When I was killing Zulrah, you kind of need, every guide on the internet says you need a toxic blowpipe in order to go ahead and kill it, but no, you're forced to kill it with something like a rune crossbow. In my opinion, I think this is great though, because it teaches you on how to do things with budget gear, for example, which can help you with something like raids in the future. But it's very difficult and kind of frustrating in a way if you want to drop so bad and you just can't get it. The next thing is there is less group activity. Obviously, because you are an Ironman account, you will be interacting with people less. Now, you can still do a lot with people, you can do some raids together with other people and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's a lot less than you could do on, say, a main account, right? You can, split drops with other accounts and stuff like that. On Ironman, you just can't. So say you're going to Bandos or something with a bunch of your friends, or a raid with a bunch of your friends. If they get one of those big drops, they're splitting it, and then you can't, right? But then if you get it in your name, it's all yours. Questing and achievement diaries can be extremely difficult being an Ironman, right? You have to either boost for a lot of the levels, or just go ahead and grind the levels out yourself. And I honestly just recommend you just grind the levels out, because then you'll have them unlocked forever for achievement diary tasks and stuff. As well, with questing, there's tons of levels you're going to need for quests. Some can be fairly annoying, like getting 70 and stuff like Herblore. whatever you might need for the quest requirement of Song of the Elves. It can be very, very hard to go ahead and do, and being an Ironman, you have to go ahead and gather all those resources yourself, and even just doing the quests, you have to go ahead and get some random weird items, but you know, it gives you more game knowledge, but it can be very frustrating and very turning off for some players, but it's a learning experience. Now, probably the biggest issue late game Ironmen tend to face is running out of supplies, whether that be food, potions, seeds, anything you might need on an Ironman account. Can be very annoying, you having to go out of your way, stopping the quote-unquote fun activities like bossing, PVMing, Slayer, and having to go back to skilling in order to gather seeds to make potions or fish to go ahead and make food. This can be very frustrating if you just want to, you know, grind out Hydra, for example, but you don't have any food or any potions. You have to go ahead and make those first, so it can kind of seem like you're going out of your way all the time to go and get things done, but that's honestly just the Ironman experience. But I see a lot of Ironman complaining about always running out of Ceradomin brews or food, but yeah, that's just how the game is. If you do enough endgame bossing and you can get your food while on your AFK time or something like that, it really shouldn't be a problem. But in the mid to end game, you run out of like prayer potions, for example, all of the time, and it's just so annoying, and it feels like you can't go ahead and do Slayer. The next one kind of ties into it, where you're quote-unquote forced to go ahead and do things that you might not want to do or you would never have done before being a main account. Like I just mentioned, you might have to go fish in order to get yourself food, or finish this quest in order to get this that you wouldn't have to do, say, on a main account. I think this is a good thing, and it actually makes you learn new things about RuneScape, and maybe you end up really liking that activity. For me, I was never actually a big fan of doing combat, right? And ever since Ironman mode, Slayer is literally my favorite skill in the entire game. I realized the whole value of Slayer and how important it is for pretty much every other skill in the game, right? Slayer goes ahead and gets you seeds for farming, gets you just a bunch of alkables for making money, gets you random resources to train like crafting and fletching and whatever that might be, and it's just overall such a great skill that supports pretty much every other skill in the game. And at the same time, you're training magic, prayer, range, defense, strength, attack, hit points. It's just a great skill. But yeah, a lot of the cons I see from most Ironman is that I'm forced to kill, you know, Lizardman Shamans to go ahead and get my Dragon Warhammer. When on a main, you can go ahead and just buy it, but that is honestly the game mode you chose to play, and you could go 30,000 dry. I know tons of people who have went dry at certain items. Me, for example, dry at Hydra. I was pretty dry at Zulrah as well, but the way I like to look at it is if you go dry at a boss or anything, you're making money, you're gaining experience. It might take you a lot longer to go ahead and get to your final destination, but you're still making progress along the way, whether it be money, XP. At the end of the day, if you go dry at something like Zulrah, you get a lot more, you know, cooking XP with the grapes. You get a lot more Zulrah skills for the future of charging it. You might get a couple of onyxes to make your Zenites. It all works out in the end. Another thing I find going dry at really good is clue scrolls. The more clue scrolls you go ahead and do, the more money you're going to have, the more unique rewards you're going to have from all of the clue scrolls. And you get all those teleport scrolls around the game too that can just help you getting to the most weird of locations ever. And I find them very useful in scenarios where I'm like, how do I go ahead and get here? I have all of the capes in the game to teleport me, but how am I going to get here really quick? Oh, open up the Master Scroll book, and since I've done so many clue scrolls now, I've got teleports for days. Look at that. The thing about Ironman mode is they're not really cons, it's just the actual game mode itself. Some parts of it can be very frustrating, and you kind of always have to go out of your way to do what you were originally going to do, but I honestly find that very fun and very rewarding. Ironman mode has changed the whole perspective I have on this game, and I kind of see everything as being in Ironman mode now. Even when I'm playing my main account and I get like a drop, for example, it's like, I can use this. Oh, wait, I already have something better than this. I'm just going to go sell it. It's a really weird feeling. Once you've played Ironman for so long, you kind of see the value in items. And I've talked about this before, but it really changes the way you think about this game and play this game. So honestly, everything on this list isn't really a con, it's more of a learning experience. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the whole video today. If there are any other cons, quote unquote, that I've missed out, please leave them down in the comments below if you found anything extremely frustrating about an Ironman. Now, this is only Ironman, maybe hardcore. I'm not talking about UIM. There's a lot of cons there, right? No bank and stuff like that, but that might be in the near future on this channel. We'll have to go ahead and see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.